Happy Saturday. I figured I would come on here early for the simple fact that God placed this on my heart. And so I want you to start your weekend off great. I know yesterday was Friday, and for a lot of us, our weekend started yesterday. But for some of us, our weekend starts today. And so when we think about the weekend, we think about going out, we think about meeting new people. We think about doing new things, maybe exploring, maybe getting up with someone we're entertaining, things of that nature. So as I was sitting here minding my business like I normally do, God put it in my heart, 3 types of love to run from. One is struggle love. The second one is toxic love. And the third one is obsessive love. Now, when we think of struggle love, I know your mind probably shifts to finances, right? But that is not the type of love that I am speaking of, where there's maybe a financial hardship. I'm not speaking about that type of situation. When I'm speaking of struggle love, I'm talking about the tug and war experience, like trying to pull it out of that person, trying to get that person to communicate, trying to get that person to have drive, trying to get that person to see the value in the relationship or to see the value in yourself. You're struggling to communicate. You're struggling to go deeper as it relates to being like relatable. You're struggling in that area. I know a lot of people who are going through financial hardships, but their relationship is strong. They communicate effectively. They're growing together and they're finding ways to get out of their financial hardship. So when I talk about struggle love, I am not speaking of finances, okay? That is not the type of love that I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of struggling to communicate, struggling to find peace, struggling to get that person to see your value, struggling to get that person to hear you, to feel you. Okay? That is what I'm speaking of. All right. The second type of love is toxic love. Now, toxic can equate to abusive financially, abusive emotionally, spiritually, abusive physically. When you're dealing with someone who is toxic, even toxicity could bring in a narcissistic character trait. So when you're dealing with someone who is toxic, you're always abusive. They're always putting you down. They're always belittling you. They're very argumentative. There's no peace. There's no rest. Run. Okay. I know most people will stay in toxic situations. Why? Because the love making, the intimacy may be good. So we'll stay in something that's toxic because it's filling us in one area, which is sexually. So you want to run from a toxic type of love, a toxic kind of person. Third type of love is obsessive love. Obsession. When you think of most Dateline shows, or you think of Snap, or you think of all these type of TV shows or news outlets that talk about people being obsessive, it just doesn't end well. Okay, so it can end in a physical death, an emotional death, a spiritual death. And a lot of them end up in physical harm, right? So when someone is obsessive over someone else, that brings physical harm to that person. So there's no peace, there's no rest. You're always looking over your shoulders. You have to watch what you say. You can't say this, you can't do this, you can't wear that. Oh, he's jealous, or oh, she'll get mad, or she's jealous. Any type of obsession is not healthy, okay? These are not healthy loves. So if you are experiencing love where you're struggling to communicate, where you're struggling to find peace, where you're struggling to get this person to see your value. That is not healthy. If you're in any type of toxic relationship where it's abusive physically, emotionally, spiritually, in financially, any type of it's not healthy. If you're in a relationship where it's obsessive, you're scared to say anything, do anything because this person is obsessed over you, it is not healthy. And each and every one of these types of loves will leave you feeling depleted, will leave you feeling hopeless, will leave you feeling insecure, will leave you feeling not worthy. I am telling you, I wanted to start your Saturday morning off with nothing but information. Okay. Like I said, I was sitting here minding my business. God dropped these 3 types of loves in my heart to stay away from, to stay clear of. Right. And so oftentimes what we'll think is that it's okay because this is our norm. This is our environment. This is how we grew up. This is how we saw love being transferred and love being received and perceived. This is okay because, this is how mom and dad was. They struggled. They were toxic. Papa was obsessed over mama. Mama was obsessed over papa. But then the in-betweens get neglected. And a lot of the time, the in-betweens are the children. So children get neglected while you're going through your struggle love. Children get neglected while you're going through your toxic love. Children get neglected while you're going through your obsessive love, because in each type of these loves, you're just in survival mode. Okay? In each type of these loves, you're in survival mode. So you don't really have time to nurture your children, to nurture yourself, to nurture your soul. You don't have time to do it because you're in survival mode. You're just thinking about, how can I get to the next day? I just want to go to sleep to get to the next day.